Hi, my name is Brenda Ness, author of Secrets Revealed at the Time of the End. I am reading and teaching my entire book on YouTube videos. You can get to my site by going to estherofisrael.wix.com/secrets revealed. And this is the site you will come to. At the top of the page is the author's inspiration. This is the home page, and then you can look at my book orders, and this is my biography, and you may contact me on the contact page. If you are going to order a book from outside of the United States, please send your country to me so I can calculate the postage for you. At the bottom of the home page is how to order a book or to watch for free on YouTube videos. At the very bottom of the page is the YouTube icon. Click on that and you will go to my YouTube page, which looks like this. You may scroll to the bottom of that page to find the earlier videos that I recorded. The cover of the book I explain and tell you about the picture, and then here in the introduction I tell you some more about me and why I'm writing the book, and then the rest are all chapters. Some of the chapters have been split in 2 or more sections. For example, chapter 6 was a very long chapter. It's 6A, B, C, and D. Any other chapter for the most part has been split in 2, but no more. Okay, right now I am recording the second half of chapter 16, the final chapter of the book. I'm going to pick up on page 216, Back to Theological and Halakhic Reflections on the Holocaust. Unlike a battle waged over a short period, the battle throughout the generations between Israel and Amalek involves a war of attrition, a constant random attenuation of enemy forces. Rather than speaking of a cataclysmic battle, our sages have described Amalek's tactics as a series of sporadic attacks, stealing souls from the camp of Israel from under God's protective clouds. This will even happen during the last 7 years. In a series of 3 wars, the first war brought on by the Muslims who believe Allah is God, led by the minor Antichrist. The second war is conducted by the major Antichrist, pretending to be Christ. And the third war again led by the major Antichrist. But this time all the world will know he is the Antichrist. Anyone following him at the point of this last war is intentionally fighting against God and his Son Jesus. The service Yom Kippur, therefore, 2 calls for the casting of lots. 2 identical goats are assigned by lot, one to holiness and ultimate sacrifice in the holy temple, and the other to be banished to the desert and desolation. The 2 services are performed by 2 contrasting personages, the high priest, representing Aaron in each generation, who enters the Holy of Holies, and the Ish Haidi, the anonymous and transient functionary who carries the goat to Azazel and destruction. The assignment of the goat to Azazel is by lot alone. No man may pronounce any name but the Almighty's upon a sacrificial animal. The Purim story similarly posits 2 nearly identical Ishim, which means men. Mordecai, the Ish Yehudi, the exile of Jerusalem, who, like the priest of old, changes his garb 5 times to reflect his proximity to God's presence. And Haman, the Ishidi, who becomes Azazel himself, the angel of destruction. Just as the goat for Azazel is unspeakable, so too the rendering of the ring to Haman is unthinkable in theological terms. God speaks at last through the pur, the seemingly random exchange of identical objects. If you will recall in my description of the 7 spirits of God, Jesus appears 5 times during the 7-year tribulation, which I call the second era. When the tribulation ends, Satan will be cast away into the pit, and Jesus will come to reign over earth. As Haman was the Ishidi, so will the minor and major Antichrist be. It is ironic that atonement of sins is granted to Israel not through the ministrations of the high priest, but by the actions of the Ishidi. The confrontation with evil inherent in the goat of Azazel. In the kingship of Saul, there was an awakening of interest in the building of the temple, but it was first necessary for Saul and David to eliminate that Amalek. Similarly, before the construction of the second temple, it was necessary to eliminate Haman's Amalek, and so it will be in the future before the construction of the third temple. In the first end-time war, which happens on Yom Kippur, the Muslim Amalek, minor Antichrist, will need to be eliminated. Then the third temple will be built. 3.5 years later, the major Antichrist will defile it with the abomination of desolation, which begins his reign. After his 42-month reign is over, the Messiah himself will defeat Antichrist, throw him out of the temple, then follow up with 7 weeks of wrath. After the Antichrist, Amalek, is thrown into the pit, Christ will build a new temple in 3 days and will reign on earth for 1,000 years. If the major Antichrist is going to take over the third temple, as Scripture indicates, he can't be eliminated during this first end-time war before it is even built. This supports my theory that there are 2 enemies which will need to be defeated. The Amalek from the Muslims, the minor Antichrist, before the third temple is built. Then the Amalek, the major Antichrist, from the Roman Empire, who takes it over and defiles it. Similarities between the character of Mordecai and the Messiah. Mordecai changes clothes 5 times. Jesus appears 5 times during the tribulation. Mordecai is a servant to begin with, and at the end of the story, he is second in command to the king. Jesus came the first time as a servant, and at the end of the tribulation, the people of the world will be able to see him in the place he has always been, second in command to God. Mordecai takes Haman's spot as second in command when Haman is removed from it. Jesus will reign over the earth when Satan is removed from it. Mordecai passed a test of loyalty by saving the king's life. The Messiah passed a test of loyalty, giving his life so that our lives can be saved. The Yom Kippur ritual described in the book of Leviticus. Leviticus 16:1. The Lord spoke to Moses after the death of the 2 sons of Aaron, who were killed when they offered unholy fire to the Lord. He said, "Tell your brother Aaron that only on the proper time is he to go behind the curtain in the most holy place, because that is where I appear in a cloud above the lid on the covenant box. If he disobeys, he will be killed. He may enter the most holy place only after he has brought a young bull for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering." Then the Lord gave the following instructions. Before Aaron goes into the most holy place, he must take a bath and put on the priestly garments, the linen robe and shorts, the belt and the turban. The community of Israel shall give Aaron 2 male goats for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering. He shall offer a bull as a sacrifice to take away his own sins and those of his family. Then he shall take the 2 goats to the entrance of the tent of the Lord's presence. There he shall draw lots using 2 stones, one marked for the Lord and the other for Azazel. Aaron shall sacrifice the goat chosen by lot for the Lord and offer it as a sin offering. The goat chosen for Azazel shall be presented alive to the Lord and sent off into the desert to Azazel in order to take away the sins of the people. When Aaron sacrifices the bull as the sin offering for himself and his family, he shall take a fire pan full of burning coals from the altar and 2 handfuls of fine incense and bring them into the most holy place. There in the Lord's presence he shall put the incense on the fire, and the smoke of the incense will hide the lid of the covenant box, so that he will not see it and die. He shall take some of the bull's blood and with his finger sprinkle it on the front of the lid, and then sprinkle some of it 7 times in front of the covenant box. After that he shall kill the goat for the sin offering for the people, bringing its blood into the most holy place, and sprinkle it on the lid and then in front of the covenant box, as he did with the bull's blood. In this way he will perform the ritual to purify the most holy place from the uncleanness of the people of Israel and from all of their sins. He must do this to the tent, because it stands in the middle of the camp, which is ritually unclean. From the time Aaron enters the most holy place to perform the ritual of purification until he comes out, there must be no one in the tent. When he has performed the ritual for himself, his family, and the whole community, he must then go out to the altar for burnt offerings and purify it. He must take some of the bull's blood and some of the goat's blood and put it all over the projections at the corners of the altar. With his finger he must sprinkle some of the blood on the altar 7 times. In this way he is to purify it from the sins of the people of Israel and make it holy. When Aaron has finished performing the ritual to purify the most holy place, the rest of the tent of the Lord's presence and the altar, he shall present to the Lord the live goat chosen for Azazel. He shall put both of his hands on the goat's head and confess over it all the evils, sins, and rebellions of the people of Israel, and so to transfer them to the goat's head. Then the goat is to be driven off into the desert by someone appointed to do it. The goat will carry all of their sins away with him into some uninhabited land. Then Aaron shall go into the tent, take off the priestly garments that he had put on before entering the holy place, and leave them there. He must take a bath in the holy place and put on his own clothes. After that he shall go out and offer the burnt offering to remove his own sin and those of the people. He shall burn on the altar the fat of the animal for the sin offering. The man who drove the goat into the desert to Azazel must wash his clothes and take a bath before he comes back into camp. The bull and the goat used for the sin offering, whose blood was brought into the most holy place to take away sin, shall be carried outside of the camp and burned. Skin, meat, and intestines shall all be burned. The one who burns them must wash his clothes and take a bath before he returns to camp. The following regulations are to be observed for all time to come. On the 10th day of the 7th month, the Israelites and the foreigners living among them must fast and must not do any work. On that day the ritual is to be performed to purify them from all their sins, so that they will be ritually clean. That day is to be a very holy day, one on which they fast and do no work at all. These regulations are to be observed for all time to come. The high priest, properly ordained and consecrated to succeed his father, is to perform the ritual of purification. He shall put on the priestly garments and perform the ritual to purify the most holy place. The rest of the tent of the Lord's presence, the altar, the priests, and all the people of the community. These regulations are to be observed for all time to come. This ritual must be performed once a year to purify the people of Israel from all their sins. So Moses did as the Lord had commanded. Earlier I had talked about time and when time ends. So as you can see, this Yom Kippur will be observed for all time to come. Once the millennial kingdom is over, that is the end of time. So at that point, we will not be doing these rituals anymore, because we will be joining God in eternity. Thank you for listening. That is the end of my book. If you have any questions, please post them on my site, the Secrets Revealed at the Time of the End. I will see these comments much quicker than I would if you comment on the individual videos, because I have to go look at each video each time to look for contacts. So I will be checking this contact page most often. Thank you. May God bless you today and every day.